Hello, everybody. Let's see, are we live? There we go. Happy Wednesday. We are on day 4 of the 12 days of Christmas. As you're popping on, hop in the comments to say hello. Lets me know that you're here. I'm excited about today's topic. I think this is one of those marketing strategies that not enough school owners are really putting on a lot of time or a lot of energy. And it's the only digital marketing like strategy and platform that you actually own. So really pumped to share day 4 with you. So let's go ahead and get this party started. Like I said, as you guys are coming in, say hello. Lets me know that you are here. And if you are brand new to the 12 days of Christmas, all of the recordings are inside of this group. You can also find them on our GrowPro Agency YouTube channel. So we're creating a 12 days of Christmas playlist over there. So if you want to watch the recordings, I've gotten a couple of emails from some of you with follow-up questions, which is great. Please don't hesitate to do that. But you can go back and you can watch days 1, 2, and 3 because we're going over 12 critical marketing strategies to implement in your martial arts school to help you recruit more students, increase your revenue. And obviously, when we do that, we make a bigger impact, right? So we are on day number 4. We're going to finish out this week. We're going to finish out next week. And then we will end on Monday, the 18th. We've talked about laying the marketing foundations, making sure you've are planting lots of seeds, different types of crops in terms of your marketing. You can also consider it like having more lines out in the ocean. Talked about making sure your NAP, N-A-P, name, address, and phone number are accurate across all of your citations online. Day number 2, we talked about developing a strong brand. Yesterday was all about social media strategies of what's working right now on Facebook. And today, we're talking about the inbox. We're talking about email. We're talking about text message strategies. And this is one that can really move the needle. And because of AI now, requires a lot less investment of your time to implement, which I'm all about buying back your time and things not taking as much time. Hello, Miss Palos. Guys, as you're coming on, say hello. I see you watching. Get in the comments. As always, take notes, participate. Please ask questions. I'll do my best to get to them. There is a slight lag between the live, but get in the comments. And if I don't answer them live, I'll answer them on the replay. And if you're watching the replay, same thing. So also kind of unveiling a new fact about Cris every single one of these. So I'm not just talking about, my work background, but fact number 4, I'm actually an avid piano player, and I was a band dork, band nerd, band geek in high school. It was probably the best part of high school for me. And I played the trumpet. I was the trumpet section leader, and then my senior year I was the drum major of the band, which is the person that conducts the band. So music and martial arts, 2 things that I feel like if every child in the world did, we'd have a much better place. Your action item from yesterday was to audit your Facebook business page. I gave you about 8 different things to look at. It's the end of the year. It's a good time to do this. And also invited you to have us do it here at GrowPro. We'd be happy to do a marketing audit for you. So you don't have to do it yourself. And our day 3 gift was a free copy of my best-selling book. So all you had to do is email Cris@growproagency.com, give me your name and your address, and we will mail the book. We had a few of you already send that out, which is super, super cool. So let's dive into the content. And I want to talk about mental Rolodex. And, for maybe some of the younger generation, you might not even know what this thing is on the screen. My grandma, called her Mama Lydia, she had one of these, and I was known to move around a lot after I moved out of my parents' house in high school. And she got so upset at me because I moved almost every single year, and she ran out of like pages to write my address. She would always make fun of me for that. But when I'm talking about a mental Rolodex, I'm talking about really the power of email. And I'm sure at some point, it's 11:35 Eastern where I'm at. So maybe if you're on the, Pacific coast, you haven't done it yet, but you probably have checked your email at some point today, or you are going to check your email. And more than likely, you have subscribed to lots of different lists over the years that you've had your email address. And as you're going through your email, you probably end up deleting more emails than you actually open. And the reason is, maybe we see ads online, or somebody told us about some website that we had to go check out. So we opted in, and they are reaching out to us. And when they reach out to us, regardless if we open the email or not, we have to read who it's from. And when we read who it's from, it is reminding us, it is, making us aware of this particular company. So even if we don't open it, we're still seeing that company's name. And in some cases, if the company has been emailing you over and over and over again, maybe you unsubscribe, maybe you found a different solution, so you're not really interested in the solution that they are offering, another reason why you unsubscribe. But oftentimes it's just you're not ready to pull the trigger. You're not in the cycle of their customer journey where you are ready to purchase. It's still sitting there in the back of your head. And if it wasn't, you would, unsubscribe from that list. And email and text message allows you to stay in the mental Rolodex of your prospects, so that when they do move along in the customer journey, your business is the first business that pops into mind. And I think for the most part, not enough martial arts schools are leveraging the power of email and text message, because none of us really opened our martial arts school because we wanted to sit down in front of a computer and write emails, right? But with now the power of Chat GPT, what might have taken you an hour or even more to put together a 3-part email series, you can do in less than 10 minutes. So really, going into 2024, you have absolutely no excuse not to be in the mental Rolodex of your prospects. It's the only thing that you own. At any point, Mark Zuckerberg could say, you know what, I'm going to shut down Facebook ads, or hey, if you want to advertise on Facebook ads, you have to spending, $500 a day. Same thing can happen with Google. It's really your contact list that you have been, hopefully increasing year over year, is the only thing you own. And your level of effectiveness is really going to come down to your ability to be consistent, and repeat the actions of sending out emails, but also your ability to gain trust with your audience and your prospects that have opted in. Because, if you haven't gained that trust and you're constantly emailing them, they're going to unsubscribe, or they're going to D&D you. So there are a few steps that I want to talk about in order for you to really win in 2024 in terms of impacting the inbox. So number one, and this is just marketing 101, you always have to be growing your list. You have to be building a subscriber list. And one of the best ways to do this is to make sure that your opt-in form on your website is front and center, and it's not something that is hidden. It's something that is aesthetic to the eye. It's one of the reasons why I love Market Muscle websites so much, because it's one of the first things that you see when you go to the website. So you got to make sure that the placement of the opt-in forms is in a place that's very obvious. We audit a lot of websites when we do our free marketing audits for schools, and oftentimes, like, the only place to opt in is on the contact us page. So the other, way of consistently building your subscriber list is having some form of a lead magnet. So it's not just say, hey, contact us by giving us your information, but you put something on the other end of them giving you their information. We call this an ethical bribe, whether it's a PDF of how to build more confidence, whether it's your schedule, whether it's a promotion that you're running. This should be standard practice on your website, okay? The other mistake that I see a lot of school owners making is spending the time and energy and the investment of doing like offline events, whether, that's setting up a booth, that's going to an open house. You want to make sure that those leads that you are collecting are making their way into your CRM so that you can leverage the impact of the inbox. And, one thing I just want to make sure we're all on the same page is that there are privacy regulations. When people are opting in, there is specific language that you need to have on that opt-in form that makes them aware that you will be reaching out, because otherwise you're breaking the law. Okay. So this mindset of always be growing your list needs to be front and center going into 2024. And, I would hope that at the beginning of this year in January compared to today, that your list has grown exponentially. And if you are running paid ads like Facebook ads and Google ads, if you are doing offline events, maybe setting up a booth at an open house or doing a fall festival or a spring fling, that those interactions ultimately lead to you growing your list. And we want to grow the list with people that are actually interested, right? So you got to be cautious of doing these offline events and, dangling something in front of the person to give you their contact information. But if that person isn't a potential viable prospect, don't necessarily want to have them on my subscriber list, okay? Tip number 2 is most of the industry standard websites do this, but if yours doesn't, going into the new year, you got to make sure that you have the ability to segment your list. So when somebody is opting in, they're requesting more information, what they're requesting information for. Is it for a fitness kickboxing class? Is it for a kids martial arts program? Is it for an after school or summer camp? And when you're getting the leads at off-site events as well, offline events, you want to make sure that you're marking them appropriately, because there's going to be different promotions that you send out based off of the program that the person is interested in. And this is where tags inside of your CRM become very, very helpful. So we want to make sure that we have the ability to segment our list and we know, okay, this lead is interested in this program, this lead is interested in this program. The other really powerful part about, email marketing in general is the ability to personalize the emails that go out. We do this through something called merge tags. They're little pieces of code that you can put in the subject line, you can put in the body of the email, and it will pull in that person's information so it looks as though the email or text message was sent directly to them. So anytime you have an opportunity to do that, I highly recommend that you do so, okay? Now, let's talk about leveraging automation. There are a few ways for you to gain leverage in your business, right? We can hire people. That's one way of leveraging. We can raise capital. That's another way. We can use code, which is a part of automations. And then you have media. Those are like the 4 ways that you can create leverage in your business. And this falls into that category of code. And I absolutely love automations, but I love automations that feel personalized. And going into 2024, there's 3 different sequences that I want you to make sure you have. Number 1 is going to be a welcome series for new prospects. So anytime somebody opts in, they are getting a sequence of emails and text messages that are trying to move them one step further in the customer journey, which would ultimately be to book an appointment, right? So you need to at least, at a minimum, have a 21-day nurture sequence from the time that somebody opts in until 21 days. The second type of nurture sequence you want to have is a long-term nurture sequence. So after those 21 days where they're getting text messages and emails a little bit more frequently, after the 21 days, they're still getting text messages and emails, but it's not as frequent, okay? We call these long-term nurture sequence. They're also known as drip campaigns. So you want to make sure you have something that is continuously sending them valuable information, not just promotional stuff, not just buy my stuff, We want to send them educational info, entertaining info, and then, of course, promotional items. And then my third, which is probably like one of my absolute favorites, is that once your prospect becomes a student, you can tag them in your CRM as a student, and you can do it by program. And we want that tag to fire a new student welcome series automation. And ideally, you want those emails that are going out to them to be consistent. We at Gracie Pack, my school, we do one a week for the first 52 weeks. So for the first year that they're with us, they're going to get an email. And we specifically sat down and thought, what is our customer? What are our students going through when they're with us for like the first week, right? What does it look like at week 4? What does it look like at week 12? And we also utilize our new student welcome packet to help us build this out. And it's a touch point every single week. It's personalized through merge tags. And it's very in sync with what they're experiencing. So oftentimes people think you're actually sitting there writing this email directly to them. They don't even know that it's an automation. So these are the 3 automations you absolutely need to be going in to 2024 into the new year. Okay. Now let's talk about driving sales with emails and with text messages. Okay. Like I said earlier, it's the only real platform that you own. Email marketing is not dead. And every month you need to be disguising your marketing with seasonality and with holidays, right? We know that the best martial arts instructors disguise repetition, right? If I had a student come in and say, hey, I want to get really, really good at the triangle, I'm not going to sit there and say, okay, well then do 10,000 reps, right? The student probably wouldn't stick around very long, but I know they need those 10,000 reps to get really, really good at doing the triangle. So as an instructor, I'm going to disguise the repetition with the different types of warm-ups that we can do, different types of drills that we can do, different types of setups that we can do to ultimately get that person to where they want to be. Well, as marketers, we need to disguise the repetition of our offer as well. And one of the best ways to do that is to use the season. So if you have not sent out a limited time promotional offer for December, this is my challenge to you, is to get that out there. Okay. And we want to make sure that there is a balance with you sending out offers and also providing value, which is why I want you to have this long-term nurture sequence that is providing the educational value, the entertaining value, so that when you are trying to drive sales through the inbox, it's not the only communication that you're having with them. Okay. Now, subject lines are one of the most important aspects of your email marketing, because this is really going to determine, in large, if the person opens up the email. The trust level that they have with you is another aspect of this. But the subject line, it's got to be compelling. It's got to be intriguing. We have found that personalizing it, adding numbers and emojis, and making sure that it's short and concise have been great ways to help increase open rates. And what you want to make sure that you avoid are spam or trigger words, because when you do that, if you say something clickbaity, it's like when you're scrolling and and you see a news article that this headline just absolutely ridiculous. You click on it and the article's, about something completely different. You feel used by that brand and you're going to hesitate to click on the next thing that they put out. So you want to make sure that you're avoiding spam and trigger words. And like I said earlier, I think one of the reasons why a lot of business owners haven't been, having a lot of impact with the inbox is because the time investment and the creative investment. Some people just might not really enjoy writing, right? It was just very large if I wanted to send out 3 or 5 emails, and now ChatGPT can really help with that. And I absolutely love using ChatGPT to help come up with subject lines, because you can tell ChatGPT to act as a professional copywriter or a world-class direct response copywriter. And it can really cut down on times. Now, the other thing that I do with subject lines is I keep what's called a swipe file on my computer. And anytime I see an email that the subject line was really intriguing to me, enough so for me to open it, I'll take that email and I'll drag it into a file on my computer, and I have this entire folder of the swipe files of examples of subject lines that cause enough curiosity for me to open, right? Mr. Hanzu's a fellow band nerd. That's awesome. Is Herbert spelled correctly is important? Absolutely. Prior to sending any email, I always recommend that you do a test email, especially if you're using emojis, if you're using links, which we're going to talk about analytics here in a second. You want to send that out first to a test email so that you can make sure that everything is coming across properly, okay? Talking a little bit more about leveraging ChatGPT, not only can it help you come up with subject lines, it can write the emails for you. And, if you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. So you want to make sure you're providing it with context. You can also give it parameters in terms of, how many characters you want it to have. You can tell it to act as a certain person. And probably my favorite way is using it to kind of help me come up with the, core idea of the email, and then changing the wording to be in my voice. I think it's very obvious when people are, posting on social media or sending emails that was written by ChatGPT. Like ChatGPT just talks a little too properly, a little too professionally, which is why you want to, edit it. And then what I love is once I have that kind of first email, I can put it in ChatGPT. And what I'll say is, I'd like for you to write, email number 2 and email number 3. In email number 2, I'd like you to put this testimonial, and I'd like you to add some urgency or some scarcity. And then email number 3 should be about this deal expiring. And then what it'll take is it'll read email number 1, which is the first email you wanted to go out, and it will write email number 2 and email number 3 for you. So you really just cut your time drastically, because it can help you pump out a higher quantity of emails. But again, you need to make sure that you're editing and you're putting it in your own words, okay? Now, I talked, you hear this often. This is not a concept I came up with. It's not a concept that the martial arts industry came up with. A very famous marketer by the name of Dean Jackson is the one that came up with this concept of the magic email. I've posted about it in this group. This is something smart to do a few times a year. The subject line is just name, and in the body, it's just one sentence, super simple. And you say, are you still interested in training in the martial arts? And what this does is, it is going to clean up your list, because you are going to get unsubscribes from it. And there's nothing wrong with that. You should not freak out about getting unsubscribes. But 2, it's going to start another conversation with people. And you might say people, that come back and say no, and you're going to have a good amount of people that say yes. And for those of you that have large email lists, this can be very powerful. One of the things I want to make sure, though, is when you are blasting out the magic email, and you can do this via text message as well. Obviously, text messages are going to incur costs, so just keep that in mind. If you have 10,000, 20,000 people on your list, that's a lot of text to go out. And you want to make sure that you are also drip releasing this if you do have a very large list, because you got 15,000, 20,000 subscribers, and you blast out that many text messages. 1, you're probably at risk of getting your phone number shut down, which is why you have to drip release it in small increments. But 2, if you have a good majority of the people respond, you're probably not going to have enough appointment slots. So this is something, as you're going to plan your calendar for 2024, I want to make sure that you add this in. And I would specifically choose months where recruiting, if you look at the history of your KPIs, if you have a tracking sheet, if you look at the history and you notice year after year, this particular month, maybe it's February, our recruiting numbers are slightly down, then I would make sure that you put the magic email in there. Okay. Now, we got to talk about numbers when we're sending out these emails, and you want to make sure that you are tracking your metrics. And 3 of the most important numbers you should track are open rates, click-through rates, and conversion. So open rates is just the number of people that open your email. Click-through rates are the people that are actually clicking on the link in the email. So let's say you had a promotional offer for the holidays. They click on the link. That's the percentage of people that click through it. And then conversion are the people that actually purchase. So like kind of the average, and this changes from industry to industry, but you want to make sure your open rates are at least 20% or above. If your open rates are a lot lower than that, you need to look at the subject lines. You need to look at, what type of emails have I been sending out? And you also need to look at the age of the subscribers, right? Maybe you were really big and you're doing Facebook ads 5 years ago. You grew a large list, but this list is really, really cold. Your open rates can decline because of that, okay? Click-through rates, we want to aim for about 2 to 5%, and then conversion, same thing, 2 to 5. So if you had a list of 10,000 subscribers, and you sent out an email and you got 20% open rates, that's about 2,000 people that opened it. If you had a 5% click-through rate, that would be around 100 clicks, and a 5% conversion out of the people that clicked, that would be around 5 sales. And here's the thing, it didn't cost you anything except for your time, which now ChatGPT can literally cut in half, okay? The last thing I want to talk about before I give you your action item is you got to make sure that you're complying with regulations, right? With email and text message regulations, you have to have explicit consent from your subscribers before you can send them things. You need to clearly communicate how their data is going to be used. And you need to have easy opt-out options. So there should be an unsubscribe in any initial text message. When somebody opts in, you have to, it is now like regulated, you have to put in there, reply stop to opt out of messaging, okay? And we just want to make sure that we're avoiding spammy tactics like misleading subject lines, any false claims, and hiding unsubscribe options, okay? And, I talked a little bit about this earlier, but for those of you that do have really big lists, you need to make sure you're drip releasing any bulk actions. If you try to send 10,000 emails all at once or 10,000 text messages all at once, your account could get flagged, and it could, basically blacklist your domain, that email domain, and you could get the phone number shut down. So let's talk about what we can do going into 2024. I'm going to give you a couple of options here, but I want you to do a database reactivation campaign. And we call these DVRs in the industry. And all it is you sending out an email to try to reactivate and re-engage your prospects on your list. I'm going to give you 2 options. You can do the magic email. Now, I would be cautious about doing it right now around this time, just because a lot of you are going to be closed. So if you're going to be closed, I know, a lot of schools close for like 2 weeks during the holiday. Well, we don't want to reach out trying to schedule appointments when we're trying to be closed. So this might better serve you when we are back from the break. The other option is a re-engagement campaign. Chris, what's a re-engagement campaign? Well, glad you asked. That is my day 4 gift for you. Miss Lance said we do this, and it's definitely effective. Yes, ma'am. So my gift to you, this martial arts re-engagement email campaign, what you're going to notice is that there's some instructions in here, okay? So it's going to provide you the step-by-step instructions. And the call to action is just to book a 15-minute phone call with your program director. So instead of trying to re-engage your list to come into the office or book an appointment to come into the school, you're just going to book an appointment to get them on the phone. It's a lot less customer friction to do this. And I gave you very specific instructions how to personalize the emails, making sure you're setting up that online calendar for them to book, how to schedule their campaign, how to track and follow up, gave you some customization tips, some legal compliance, and then just make sure that you're gaining feedback and improvement. And then there are 2 emails. I gave you the subject line. I gave you the copy of the email. You have to edit this, right? You got to make sure that you are putting in your information in terms of what the calendar link is, and you got to link that out appropriately. I also have an area where you can put in a picture of your program director. So this is my gift to you, this re-engagement email campaign. I'm going to go ahead and drop it in the comments. Again, I want you to be aware of what your appointment book looks like. It might make more sense if you are closed for a long period of time over the holiday break to wait until January to do this. So download it. You can get it set up now, and you can schedule out this to go in the new year. But that is my gift to you. Tomorrow we are back for day number 5. I'm going to help you become a local legend with SEO tactics that you've never heard before, so your school can become 5 Mile famous. I hope everybody has an awesome day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.